Oh, I'm live finally. Yay. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. I was out for my walk and had a really awesome day. So I just wanted to get on one of these spontaneous live streams because I haven't really, uh, we haven't really gotten together lately for um, an energy group. And I thought maybe I'd get on and just share some thoughts with you. And I had to actually go and I've been having trouble with the internet, which is so perfect for the topic of resistance when you're in the flow. What's that about? Because it's just been like that since we moved, and I actually had to go and get my phone so I could turn the hotspot on and get and stream through the hotspot. So I don't know what that's going to do to our data plan, but figured I was inspired. So, and in the flow, beating a little resistance from the outside with this internet connection, and it was probably just perfect for coming on today. So welcome to those of you who are here and those of you who will pick this up at another date. I've been thinking a lot about this in light of this topic, in light of my own uh, internet issues and just getting adjusted after this move. We talk a lot about how in human design about how strategy and authority helps to eliminate resistance in your life. And that is so true, you know. But what if you are following your strategy and authority? What if you are in the flow? Because strategy and authority put you in the flow of your authentic resonance, of your path and purpose in a way where you can move through without that resistance. But what if you're doing that and you meet with things like tech issues and internet issues and maybe body issues or all kinds of things that seem to come out of nowhere. And I was thinking about this for a while, thinking about doing a video on this for a while. And I was actually in a healing circle with this amazing healer today. Her name is Devora Gila Berkowitz, and I will do my best to remember to put a link to her site. And basically, she was having, she's in the flow of this energy, and we're all waiting to get on the line for this healing circle. And she was having all of these tech issues getting on. And the first thing that she mentioned when she got on was that if you're meeting with resistance, then you're probably doing something important. And that was really in line with what I've been thinking about and considering with my own this resistance that I've been kind of bumping up against with connecting on the internet. That sometimes when you're in the flow, there's still resistance, but it's a different kind of resistance from that resistance from being misaligned with your authentic self. That resistance that can kind of be remedied by following following your strategy for your type and listening to your authority. So I just wanted to tease that out a little bit, I guess. And I certainly welcome your input about resistance, how it pops up for you. And I was reminded of I actually did some videos a while back talking about the work of Dr. Maria Nemeth, and she talks about when you're in that place of resistance, it means that you're at that border between the metaphysical, that place where we all are when we are setting things up behind the scenes energetically, visioning and imagining and preparing energetically. So it's that metaphysical place. So the border is the border between the metaphysical, where it's not quite yet at the physical manifestation. So the border is where metaphysical, you get over the border and then you meet physical. So that border is that resistance that can come up. And I've talked about this before of about how that resistance is it can be kind of sometimes tied to the primitive brain, and how the primitive brain um, just it wants to keep you safe, right? Primitive brain is about the lizard brain, so to speak, is about safety. Don't get out of your comfort zone. Don't go over that border because it's safe over here, and if you make that change, we don't know if we can keep you safe. That's what the what the primitive brain it tries to do, right? So it's natural and normal for things like fear to come up as a form of resistance when you're at that border, in the, getting ready to make that breakthrough. And, there's another thing that happens. Um, and as I've been thinking about this, the term that has come up, or the way that I'm describing it, is when you go through a change, even when you've maybe uh, gotten over that border of the so-called resistance. There's another thing that can happen, that I'm calling energetic blowback. Like when you make a change in your life, like for instance, when we moved into this house, it's like twice as much house. It's, a place where I can really expand and have an office of my own to do my work in the way that I want to do it, around the kind of community that I want to be in, and all of this wonderful stuff, but it's still change. And when you make a change, hopefully you're making a change that benefits you and helps you as part of your evolution, right? And it's a change into a more expanded experience of yourself. And along with that, there can be this kind of blowback of resistance. And for those of us who are kind of are wired into, we're kind of like energy conduits, and, raise your hand if you're one of those. You can blow your connection out on your computer. Like on the call I was on today with Devora, she probably a couple times she lost her connection in the call, and it was right at those crucial times where the group energetically was making a breakthrough, and maybe it fried the circuits. I don't know. If I believe that is possible. So, sometimes that energy can just get so big that there's this blowback, or there's this feedback. And there's another thing that happens with that as well. And that is this whole thing of, when you make a change, when you shift your frequency and you shift your vibration, you can't hold on to that old stuff anymore. And that was kind of what this healing circle, what arose and unfolded in this healing circle that I was participating in today. You cannot make a change where you are shifting and elevating your frequency without some kind of, without letting go of, or dealing with, or releasing anything that is old and no longer serves you. So that can come up and be experienced as resistance. And I don't know if I just want to make you aware of that if you haven't been aware of it. And this is something that happens a lot when you begin your human design experiment. Life kind of falls apart sometimes. Life, Ra called it the shattering. When you first get introduced to your chart and you see these truths about you, it dismantles all of the illusion about who you thought you were. And I'm going to take it down a couple notches and make it a little less dramatic, and put put it into this context of when you make a shift or a change that expands you, and elevates you in some way, it uh, dredges up all of the stuff that no longer serves you, that it's time to take a look at and release. And maybe that's what we're going through on the planet right now as well. So, and I know I've been going through it in my life, not just with my internet connection and that resistance to, that resistance is coming to me energetically. But, I've been doing it in my relationships, just catching myself going back into these places of that I guess psychologists would call regression, into those places of defensiveness and into those places where I had thought I had dealt emotionally with some of the issues that have come up. And it turns out that they came up again. Um, and what that told me is or what it showed me is that, first of all, that's just stuff that is no longer a match to me. And if you've ever been in that position, or if you're going through that, I want to give you that as a piece of awareness, that when this stuff comes up, when you've elevated your frequency and you're seeing these patterns that you used to engage in, or these patterns that you used to experience, and they're coming up again, it could just be that very last bit of stuff that it doesn't match who you are now. And it's safe to let that go. And the way that I do that is by really doubling down on my self-care. I'm big on self-care. And part of that for me is doing things like this energy circle, this energy healing circle that I was in today. Getting healing work for myself. If I need body work, I get body work for myself. Taking extra good care of my body, getting more hydration than I normally get, making sure I get really good sleep. Everything that I need to do to make sure that I stay in this frequency and this vibration, that this expanded state that I've grown into. And that other stuff just has to go. It just naturally leaves when I hyper align to who I am now. So I hope that really gives you something to think about, and I hope it gives you something to work with. And I want to tell you, on the other side of that, let me tell you this, part of my self-care also is to go and get assistance from other people, and if you are someone who is a healer or a coach or a therapist, or however you assist other people, that it's important for you to get your own work, and to get things for yourself, or to give yourself things and get help from other people, support from other people, that help to put you to hold you in that flow that you have shifted into. So I'm going to recommend, or I'm going to not recommend, but well, I do recommend her, but I just want to share this other story about how this shift came about. I'm making lots of shifts in my business. It's not really apparent right now, but over the past couple of weeks, I've gotten very, very clear about what it is that I do, and how it is that I need to present that. And it is a process of actually bringing that out into the world. But what helped me with that, and this is part of me getting assistance in my own shift, is that I got a session from a really amazing person who works in the Akashic Records. Now, I work in the Akashic Records. That's something that maybe a lot of you don't know about me, is that I'm actually a trained intuitive, and I did that professionally for a while. But now I do it for my clients. If you work with me, I have, I do some intuitive stuff. But this other and I do it for my business. I work with my own guides for, and in the Akashic Records for guidance on my business and my relationships, my family, my life, all of that. So, I saw this person. We actually traded, and it just blew my mind because she she confirmed what the guidance I got a week or two before, and some of the things that I was already implementing. And then she filled in all of the details about the direction that would be best for me to take and how to go about taking that direction. So what that did is it really shifted me and aligned me to one path, one focus, one intention that's in alignment with who I am as a 3-5 projector me, and how I need to bring that out into the world. So it really elevated my frequency and expanded me into this next evolution of my life and business. So as soon as that happened, that's when like a lot of this relationship issues with my husband that, that really weren't issues, but they were just old patterns that I used to have started coming up. All of this other stuff. So, I saw it and I really started to work with that and work with what I said about self-care, getting my own rest, taking care of myself, making sure that I had what I needed. And I have the support that I need. And I really began to feel that resistance shift, and feel how that was just showing me that that was not a part of who I am anymore. That is not really a reflection of who I am. So the universe always gives you confirmation when you are on the path that that you feel or is in alignment with you. So one of the things that this woman, Anne, and I'll try to link her thing down here too, her website as well. One of the things that came up in her work with me is that uh, I need to be out in my local community more, and that's something that I struggle with here in East Tennessee. Being that I have this perception that the people who live here don't really get human design. They don't really get me in that respect. And in this session, she told me that I need to be out there, not just with the things we do here at the orchard, but really out there letting people know about what I do. If I have my app on my phone with my human design app on my phone when it's appropriate, I don't need to be shy about pulling that out and doing a little mini introduction and running someone's chart for them. So, okay, so that all seemed good in theory. And this morning I went to the farmer's market, not for that, but because I needed eggs. And I went down there looking for the person with the eggs. And as I entered into the farmer's market, the first tent, there was a gentleman there, and there were all these skincare products there. And he invited me. Projectors need invitations. He literally invited me to come over to his tent and try out the lip balm and look at all of the products and everything. And I went over because, the invitation felt good. I wasn't quite sure what it was all about. I was not looking for lip balm. And we had a little conversation for a little while. And just as I was getting ready to leave, his wife shows up and she said, "Hey, I remember you. You did my human design reading a couple years ago." It was when I was working at a place locally here. And, and her face was kind of familiar. And we got into a conversation and the light bulb came on and I realized this is confirmation about the guidance that I got that has put me on this path of more expansion. And this is confirmation that yes, I am in alignment here by doing this, even though it makes no logical sense to me. um, I was shown in that moment how this life where I've usually been online sharing human design, sharing what I know about energy, how that can actually be manifest on the ground here. So, um, what am I getting at? Let me recap here. Uh, when you're in the flow, you can also feel resistance. And that resistance, even if you are following your strategy and authority, resistance can still come up when you're in a place of greater expansion. And it can be because you are ready for another breakthrough. It can be because your energy is so high that it kind of fries the energetic circuits around you. In the example of like all of the internet and tech issues I've been talking about. Or it can also be what I'm calling energetic blowback, that has to do with the dredging up of, or maybe it's not even dredging up, maybe just seeing patterns that no longer match who you've become. And those patterns and those that resistance can be released with more alignment, relaxation. Those of you who are generators, you're really lucky because you have that sacral motor. So, you can get someone to ask you yes and no questions about what this resistance is about and what you need to do about it. You can get someone to ask you, is this because you are uh, uh, not following your strategy? Is this because you need to do more self-care? Is this because you have expanded and you just need to relax a little bit and let the dust settle? You can get those answers as a generator, and the rest of us just kind of have to sort of sit and meditate on it until it becomes clear, and take care of ourselves until we get into a stable place of alignment. And when you are in that place where that resistance begins to release because you've taken good care of yourself, because you've stabilized your alignment, then signs can show up that will indicate that you are in the flow. So I feel like I need to cap this off with just a little meditation, a little bit of just grounding for any of you who feel like you've been doing all the right things. You've been waiting for the invitations, or you've been waiting for emotional clarity, or you've been responding to the right things, and then all things kind of get wonky and blow up or get frazzled or whatever. For those of you who are in that place, let's just take a few minutes to just breathe in and relax, and exhale anything that is holding you in a state of unstable alignment. And feel your feet on the ground in this new place where you have expanded, where you have stepped into more fullness of you. a more full expression of you. And if you're feeling like maybe you are halfway in, halfway out of this new place that you've established, this new energetic place that you've established for yourself, take another deep breath. And on your exhale, just imagine yourself stepping in all the way to this place of new, fresh, elevated, expanded alignment. And then imagine that you are opening up your crown and allowing that divine energetic frequency to move through you, down your head and your spine, all the way down to your tailbone and into the ground, anchoring you in this new place. And as you do so, just relax into that. If you're feeling any places of tension or resistance in or around your body, take some deep breaths and recognize that these are old frequencies, old energies, and old patterns that you can unravel right here in this new place and allow them to dissolve. So, in this place where you're anchored in your frequency, your new expanded frequency, remember this feeling so that if you encounter these old patterns, these old vibrations, this resistance that's coming up, you can come back, step fully in to your new alignment, allow that divine life force frequency to move through you and anchor you into this stable place, this stable new place of being. And take another deep breath to ground that in. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to share for today, for this evening. Thank you so much for joining in live and joining in later. So there's more to come. I think we've been discussing or talking about burnout and human design. We talked about projectors this week, and I've got some videos for you manifestors and generators, manifesting generators, even the reflectors. So stay tuned for that. If you have not yet joined my member resource portal, I invite you to do that. It's still in process. I'm still putting up videos and putting up resources for the energy types the different energy types, and also for special topics. That's my other plan. And starting in June, we will actually be going through what I'm calling treasure hunts, thanks to Judy, who comes on these live streams a lot. Um, and our treasure hunt is going to be around exploring your dynamics of burnout so that you can find the treasures and the jewels that will help you to be more resilient to burnout. And it will definitely be something that you will consider or work with that's in alignment with your type. So that's it for tonight. Have a wonderful evening. And until the next time, be well.